Let's make sure. Looks like the stream is going up right now. I'm going to make sure it's working on all platforms. We're back. Another day. Look at this consistency. Okay, let's just make sure things are working on my end. And if you're joining, I would love to hear from you. So chime in and say hello if you are joining now. Again, we're just going to let some people roll in for a little bit. And it looks like, yep, we're streaming on all those. Good, 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 good. We'll see how this works on Instagram. Sorry, Instagram, you're going to be cropped a little bit. So we're doing some experimentation. Some live from my computer. So we'll see how this goes. You may not be able to see very good. Eventually I'll figure out a way how to like crop it so that I can have like my screen set up properly for Instagram and YouTube and Twitch. And I'm trying to do like a multi-stream on Restream. So we're just testing this thing out and seeing how it goes, guys. We're not just testing out. We're going to do some cool stuff today, actually. So if you're just joining, say hello. I'd love to see who's in the chat and who's with us. And where are you watching from, just to see how this is going. Good. That's working there. We're looking good. Quadruple checking. Say hello. Where are you guys from? Who do we have joining today? Let's see. Is YouTube? Okay, good. YouTube's up and live too. Fantastic. Great. Awesome. Okay, well, welcome. Welcome to Livestream. Today, we're going to be doing some destruction stuff in Houdini. So if you're a Houdini person, welcome. And if you're not, you get to learn a little bit of Houdini today. I'm going to keep it simple. No coding, nothing too crazy. Keeping it pretty simple. Should be pretty simple. We'll see. All right, guys. Let's just jump in. So we've been working on this fight scene project, and it's been a lot of fun. And wow, we have a lot of people on Instagram joining. This fight scene's been pretty sweet. Let me just share my screen. Again, Instagram people, we'll see how this looks for you. This is probably going to be all cropped weird for you. But yeah, we have this amazing fight scene, and let me just play through it for those of you that have not seen what this is. And I'll try to scale it up so you guys can see it in all of its glory. Let me hide all this stuff for you too. So this fight scene, we've been going through and kind of making notes on things we want to do. And there's a moment in this where he gets punched. There's a really cool scene where he gets punched, and I want the background to have this really cool destruction sim. So I figured, let's do that today. I think that'd be really sweet. What's up? Got some people from good old YouTube's joining too. Great. So yeah, there's a really cool part where he gets punched, and I was like, let's do like a big old sim. I think it's at frame 600. So let's go there. Yeah, it's right here. So I think what we did is there's a big hit right here. Boom. Right there, I want to take this back building, and I drew some notes so you can see. I want this back building to crash and collide right when he punches. I thought that would be pretty sweet. Oh, this camera got moved. My bad. Hey, Mr. White. Brendan, by the way, how are you, my friends? Didn't know you still watch Twitch. I haven't streamed to Twitch in a long time. So we're going to do some live VFX. Yeah, this fight's pretty sweet. going to have this thing, boom, crash, fall. So we're going to, you got an email that I was live? What? Twitch? That's pretty sweet. I wish, I don't know if YouTube does that, but that's pretty nice that people on there got notified. Okay, so let's jump over to Houdini. So what I did is I exported out this this geometry, and I already started kind of setting it up just so it wouldn't be a lot of me tinkering around. But when you do destruction, you got to fracture things up. So we're going to go back. You'll see that this is actually in the center of the world, and there's a reason why I do that. So first, when you bring it in, let me just hide this. When I brought this in, you'll see it is actually in a totally different place. Where is it? That's the question. Let's go into our camera. I can't even see it right now. Where's my camera? We've completely lost my entire scene. That's why you want to send it to the origin, the center of the world. Because what I did is I ended up object merging this, bringing it, and then with this transform, centering it to the center of the world. Where it needs to be, because you can have lots of problems with like how the scale of your scene, if it's way off in some other crazy place. So it's good to move it and position it in a place where it can fit. So yeah, ask questions if you have any. Sorry about Instagram. It's going to be hard for you guys to see anything. So that's my bad. But yeah, so we have this thing right here. I just merged it over. You want to center it. And a quick way to center your objects is I usually will come in here and I'll do move center to origin, and it'll move it, and you can zero things out. I think if I do it like this, let's see if this will zero. Nope, that didn't do it. I actually should have left it there. So yeah, I guess that's where it's going to put it. And then we're going to use the, oh, I got to move myself. Let me, because this is Houdini. So I got to put myself in a different place. So then over here we have the way Houdini works. Those of you that don't know. Object merge, that's bringing our object from our alembic in from a different area. It was originally, if you go out here. And let me know if this is too complicated. I can slow down and I can make this more simple if it's just a little too complicated. Those of you that aren't Houdini people, happy to do that if it's a little much. So it comes in from the alembic, and then I'm going to do an object merge, bring it over, set it to the center of the world, and now we can use what's called the RBD material fracture. This thing's super nice. You can come in here and you can start cutting it up. And I'm going to turn everything else off, and I'm going to turn off my ground. And this is going to create a bunch of fractures within your geometry, and you can set it to different parameters. Then you can do what's called a view explode. So this is a nice way to quickly view what is going on, and you can scale it depending on how big you want it. But it's a nice way to see like how are your fractures looking. So I usually will throw view explode in there. And in here let's start playing with the material type. So there's different ones. There's glass, wood. That's going to fracture it like vertically, custom. And then you can create your like fracture levels. So how many different types of fractures do you want? Where do you want fractures? All that good stuff. You also can do an input of a fracture, I believe, if you want some extra points. For example, if I created let's say a sphere, and it's going to need points. And so if I did a, let's see, ISO, offset. It's hard to see, but there's a little fog here. If I turn up the subdivisions, you'll kind of see it. Or if I change the background to like a darker, you'll be able to see this now. So yeah, it turns this into like a little fog, little volume thing. And then you can scatter points on that. So you just do like a little scatter. So now there's volume points within there. I don't think if I do it like this, yeah, so that will do on the outside. I plug it in here, and it's going to do it on the inside. And this is how many points we want to fracture our object. What's up? I don't know how to say your name. Is it Zanzuls? Sorry, you helped me edit. He edited my last video, helped me make my stuff a little bit cooler. So then you can say, plug this into this extra fracture. And if I move, so that's where our sphere is. And that's where little points are. I go right here, and I can turn, oops, not freeze. Oh, this one. So I can see where my points are hitting. You can come into one of these and you can add like an extra little fracture detail. And then I believe you come in here, fracture from, oh yeah, no, hold on. Volume. Maybe I could just do like input points. So there, okay, so now you'll see it added more points in there. But I am curious, could I go directly into this? Oh, it looks like oh yeah, you can. And if I turn up this, so I don't even have to do an ISO offset. Yeah, but I guess I can control it more if it's scattered through here. So now we have a bunch of smaller points. And to view this, let's come in here and you'll see that where I put that sphere, we have higher fraction points. Nicholas, how long did it take you to learn Houdini, right? Until it clicked with you, felt confident enough you could do client work. You know, there's things that I'm still, oh, is it me audio slow? Shoot. I'm sorry. It's maybe because I'm streaming to too many things at once. Maybe I'll turn off the stream to Instagram. And let's see if this helps. I'm going to turn off some streams. That could be a problem. We're just going to turn that one off. Let me know if that helped. So for me, for Houdini, it took me, I felt like after 6 months, I felt confident I could do enough stuff. But again, it was like, what could I do? There's so much you can do. So it's like, what are you specifically trying to do? You know, there's some things I'm still not confident. If someone asked me to do, I'd be like, ooh, that's hard. I could learn. It would just take me a lot longer. And so I feel like even within the Houdini, what's up everyone on Twitch joining? This is awesome. We have a lot of people on Twitch joining. It's made up name. Yeah, I just felt like I wasn't super confident in certain things. And so it was really like, where did I put my focus? I was like, oh, I want to do destruction. Find something that you're really excited about doing. And so for me, it was like destruction, breaking stuff, blowing up stuff. That was fun. And so I slowly would learn that. And I don't do like any Vex, any coding or anything like that. Not yet. I'm trying to get better at it. Sorry, Vex is the VOPs, right? VOPs is the coding. Vex is the node thing. I'm going to have Houdini artists be like, you idiot. So anyway, there's just a cool way to quickly scatter stuff. And let's just say I'm going to turn off another one of these fractures. So there's just these small pieces in the middle and these big pieces on top. What's up from India? How's it going, guys? Okay. So then when I put this RBD bolt solver down here, I'm setting the frame to 650. That's because I don't want, by default, it's going to say 1, and I don't want it to be 1. I want it to be, let me fix my camera. This video will be for later. Yes, it will, Francisco. I will make sure, this will just stay up so you guys can watch it later if you want, if you don't want to tune in right now. And I'm just giving some tips and stuff. I'm going to have some other videos coming out that I'm going to like record that are clean, but this has been a fun project. So I set my simulation to 650. It's at the very beginning. And in collision, you want to make sure that your ground plane, you'll see I set mine to negative because there's a ground plane and it still looks like, let me go, well, I'm looking at the fractured. So there we go. I had to make sure that my geo is on top of the ground. And then what we're going to do next, and let me know if my audio is still off because I tried to fix it. So let me know if it's working now. So then within here, I'm just going to look at it and we're going to see if we can play it back. And why are some pieces missing? That is a good question. I don't know why. Let's see. Let's go do reset simulation. See if there we go. That fixed it. Now we can see we have a simple simulation. And it's playing back a little choppy. And I'm not quite sure why, but we know it's flying a little slow. So if you ever want to preview your simulations a little bit smoother, I'll come in here sometimes. I'm going to turn off that resolution, do it to like 50%, maybe 75. Okay. And then this is just, it'll bring up a separate window in here that's going to cache back the play. And where's my window? Oh, uh-oh. Much louder. So this is what you do if you have like a heavier scene. This one's not even heavy and I don't understand why it's playing back so slow. But you can see that like for like a giant like mountain that's falling way too fast. Great, we got some on Twitch. It looks like I have some bots. Cheap views. Click here. You can see there's lots of problems. There's too much rotation. It feels like a teeny tiny model falling apart. So come back in here. Maybe I'm going to set my frame range to like 649. Yeah, material fracture is a bit slower. Okay. So if I turn this time down to 0.3, the time scale, now let's watch it back and see what happens. I'm going to click right here. We're going to see if we can get another nice preview. And this is going to play back at, yeah, it's slowing it down. So it's going to make it feel a lot bigger. And just quick tip. If you want things to feel big, slow it down. Scale and make it feel massive. Still kind of too big still. And before we add all the cool details, you really want to just hone it in, like the animation. Start with, it's just like in painting. I learned this from one of my old coworkers. Like even in painting, you use broad strokes first. You know, you want to make sure you're doing big, sweeping things first. So get like timing right and get all those other things right first before you go down the road of like making it super detailed. Especially with animation, and it's like animation simulation. It's like get your timing right, the thing that feels right timing wise, and then once you're happy with that, then be like, all right, I can lock in the time. I know it's going to look good moving at X speed. And now it's time to make it look pretty. So now when you see this, like, it's going to feel like a massive thing falling down just by slowing down the simulation. And we're going to check for things like rotation, like making sure things aren't overly rotating, and you can add in like a rotational dampening and a like velocity dampen if we get some random pieces that are like phew, like taken off. We can do that. We get a quick drink of water. I got back from the gym and I jumped on. I didn't even take a break. I just turned everything on and jumped on. So you can see it's looking a little bit better. And this is going to be in the background, falling down. So the other thing that I wanted to do was I want to add like I want it to break from one side, or yeah, gave out on one side. So that's when you start introducing, oh gosh, it's it's your constraints. And you can build your own constraints, but I'm going to see if I can come in here and play with the forces and stuff in here. Like force threshold. And maybe before I even turn up the time scale, I'm going to play with some of the constraints and just see if I can get those right first. So now it has some constraints on it, and let's see. It's way too constrained. You can see now it's not going to even break. Yeah, it's going way slower than I was hoping. So if it's going too slow, we could have created a, was it DOP network? I think material fraction, but yeah, it's just going a little slow. So we'll come in here and let's turn that distance threshold way down and see what happens then. I'm going to reset the sim. I thought I turned this down to 49. Oh, I went back, but I didn't actually set it. Whoa, it's tipping, but still not breaking. Let's see. Is it the opposite? Am I doing it the wrong way? No, it should have a low threshold. We're going to turn off distance threshold. I'm just going to turn that to 0 just to see if... Constraints are still too intense. Switch to next constraint. Impact threshold. I thought that this was gonna, is it because I didn't reset? Well, I don't know why my constraints aren't constraining. They're breaking their constraints. What the heck? It's like my constraints aren't softening up. So if any of you have a tip, I don't know why that's not quite. Force threshold, starter frame. I'm going to say 650. Guess this is me playing in Houdini today, because why isn't that working? Let's see. I know there's a, what is it, connect adjacent. And then you can name it. Let's see. Okay, so now those are falling down. So those are connections. Let's see if, okay, so now it's all falling apart. Now I think if we play with some of the constraints, maybe it'll work. Let's see. Let's just try the distance one first. Oh, it's not resetting when I... Okay, it's because it's so low. Let's crank it up and see what happens when we do this. Constraints are also breaking. Me, oh my. I thought I set that up right. called name, constraints. Let's call this. Is it because the name is wrong? That's what I'm wondering, if I have the name wrong. Is it supposed to be the same name as this? Let's see if I might be thinking that totally wrong. Switch. Why did I call it? Let's see. Just name. When I changed it, it totally got rid of it. Interesting. Okay. Because this one's putting out inside out. Yeah, primitive number. Okay. So does this one have to be called name? Nope. Well, I don't know what's happening with the constraints. That's odd. We're not going to even mess with constraints then, because I'm doing something wrong and I can't figure out what it is. Because I thought I did it right. Force threshold. No scaling. Because if it's at 1, it should be super constrained. And it's clearly not. Also, if hello, sorry about you. What did you? Oh my gosh, shameless. Yeah, someone, just a bot jumped in the chat. That's hilarious. Okay, well, we're just gonna go back to the pretty detailed stuff then. So we're not gonna worry about the other thing, and I'll deal with that later. So when another cool thing you can do in here, and this is when you have everything figured out, is you can add chipping. And when I enable this, it's going to give us these teeny tiny pieces in between. You'll see like all those little details that I just added. Just these little fractured pieces. And then the other thing is, like, to get realistic edges, you just do this detailed edge. And you will see. And why did that take away our exploded view? That's odd. It took away our detail. Let's see. Interior detail. This one's pretty sweet. This makes it so the inside looks like it's all fractured. And you have to play with the parameters on this. So I'm going to crank up the noise so you guys can see it. It might be the size is too big. And let me open this up a little bit. You'll see that sometimes it'll have the geometry flip within itself, so you got to be careful. But yeah, always a pleasure to see active chat bots. My goodness, I got to figure out how to eliminate those. So if I add 1, 1, and 1 in here, we start getting a little bit more detail. The frequency size, we get more detail within here. 0.1. If I go really, let's see, 0.1, and then 0.1. It's not doing it the way it should. That's odd. Yeah, you can do, okay, fractured geometry, guide geometry fractured. Go back up here and look at this. This is going to show us. Hmm. You can see our nice chipping. I'm going to turn this edge detail on and see, why does it do that? Is it because the scale of the scene's totally off? It's like as soon as I turned edge detail on. Oh, that's my detail size. Maybe that's what I had to originally hit, because now it's down here computing. Oh boy, maybe we went too small in the division size. If you do, I hit escape like 1,000,000 times to get back. And let's see if I can bring it down further without breaking everything. Again, that interior detail is, the edge detail is messing up something. We're going to try to lower this a little bit more. Okay, so that is adding the interior detail. That's helping our interior detail quite a bit. It's giving us more subdivisions, but it's not quite giving us the amount we want, which is very odd. I'm going to crank it. Sometimes this is what I'll do, is just crank up the noise and see what happens. And it looks like almost nothing happened. 0.01. 1. Was I going the wrong way with the frequency? That's odd. And if I don't want to let this live preview, I'm going to turn off that and see if I can. Oh, there we go. I was going the wrong way. That's odd. Okay, so now you can see we're getting that interior detail. Man, I am all over the place. I probably should have prepared a little bit more before I jumped on, because definitely went straight from the gym home and decided to jump on. So now with edge detail, let's see if this fixes it. It's computing. You can see down here it's doing many passes, and maybe it's going to work. But it doesn't like that. Yeah, Houdini's great. You can get Houdini Indie, which is amazing. And if you're just like a one-man band, really, really nice. Okay, edge detail, we're not going to even worry about it because it's giving you so many issues. And I also was going to hit this crease weights. I'm wondering if that'll fix some of those broken areas. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to also just, well, let's just go down here and see what this is looking like. And see how long this thing will take to preview. The tiniest piece is important. Yeah, like those tiny little pieces can't, it's just all about that like detail, just getting that extra detail in there. Because then off of the edges, because it's going to send out an attribute, and you can do debris from the edges. But you'll see at least the interior we're getting. It's looking nice. And again, I would turn up the time scale after this. Yeah, it's not going to happen real time. Yeah. You bake this out. Like anything you do, you're going to bake it. Like it's not going to be real. Like once you have your sim, you're going to save it out as you'll just do like a baked geo thing, so you can play it. And then you can do stuff off of that. Once you're happy with something, bake it and have it coming in, loading in that file, and then you can add a lot more cool things to it. Proxy geo, that's nice if you're trying to fracture a complicated object. I know you could you can do like a proxy geo. I don't think I've ever played with proxy geo. Should we turn it on, see what happens? I don't know what I was doing, so we're not going to play with it. Okay, so man, this is going way slow. Now I'm curious if constraints, glue, strength. Oh my, is this why this wasn't working? Wait a sec. This could be the culprit of why that wasn't working. And if that's the case, I'm going to come in here, turn off chipping, and I can turn off interior detail. And we're going to see if I fixed it. Nope. Let me reset. Yeah, I thought RBD fracture went way faster, and I'm kind of surprised at how slow this is going. Let's go back to the beginning, reset. So if I have my constraints in here, let me just make sure those are there. And then, okay, so this one is called glue. I'm going to just plug this one in. We're not going to do that one. Go back and I make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Okay. Now we're getting some fractures the way I was wanting. So I was a fool and I was playing with the wrong thing. Because now you're seeing that it's working better. Let's see, force threshold, angular threshold, so you can have it. And I think, let's just turn it to glue. There we go. So that's not bad. Okay, so now if I turned this down to like 0.1, I'm going to turn off that, go back. Let's see if this fixed some of our issues that we were having. Let's see. Let's do, it's called soft glue before. Oh, whoa, gluey. This is when it's good to be a little bit more technical and understand everything that's happening under the hood, because clearly I don't know what's happening. Multiple layers. Phrase strength. Switch to soft constraints when broken. Oh, there we go. Now we're getting something a little different. Okay, so if it's switching to the soft constraints, is this where it would be? See, I want that to bust on there. That's not. I'm going to play with a little bit of these parameters. Nothing looks like it's changing. So it's switching to a soft constraint. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I don't mind that. Okay, so now what I was going to do is go back to the beginning. Turn on that. Ocean simulation. Yeah, I've done better. I feel like I've gotten better at ocean stuff recently. Detail simulation. And I can turn the time scale. DDD. Back. I'm going to do 0.2. And then you can see also everything in here that it's sending out. Chip, outside, inside. So if you want to do stuff off of that. And then I can do a file cache. And you can name it right here and just call it crash. And 649 is, yeah, that's, why is that on frame 1? No way, Jose. To 700, make sure that's 700. Okay. So whenever you're, I'm just going to cache this and see how fast it'll go. 52 frames. It's going to cache it out and we can play it back faster and I can show you what you can do with it. But I wanted you to be able to see. This is kind of what I would do if I'm happy with everything. Not really happy with the material fracture. That was going way slower than I was anticipating. While that's going, I was going to pull up. Have you guys seen the new Houdini? Let's see. Side effects. Have you seen the new stuff coming out with the new Houdini? It looks amazing. The destruction stuff, 20.5. Well, that's going. I'm going to show you guys this. They are getting some really cool, like, it's grains, but it's like they're doing grains, but for fracture. And they're doing a lot of cool new stuff, which is super exciting. Like that, I mean, that's obviously a huge grain sim, but when they show the demo of it, I was blown away. But see how it's like builds up those chunks and then they fracture into little pieces. During the demo, they also did a building like this technique, and I was blown away. Yeah, the way I use Houdini is I'm usually just breaking things. Like you want to kind of put everything in pieces and cache it out, building assets so that you can play with it more. See that clump on the sand? That's really cool. The water mixing. That's crazy. Yeah, Houdini is just getting better and better and better. Procedural crowds, karma, and the fact that they're getting like there's dynamics. Yeah, they have a whole bunch of new rigging stuff, which is really interesting. I'm gonna skip forward. Yeah, the rigging tools are getting, and animation tools are getting really good. So I'm curious. And things like switching. So if you want someone to grab something and pick up something, like switching, like constraints. I know for animators is a thing they really need. And it looks like you can do it in here. They had a cool new compositor thing that you can create materials. Basically, it's like Substance Designer, but in Houdini, which is wild. And you can animate everything, so it's like another level. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Some AI stuff. I'm just skipping forward. Yeah, that's their new little compositor All right, let's now that we have this thing loaded. So once you have it loaded, cached out, I don't even need to compute any of that, and this should. Oh no. I think the constraints are too intense for that time scale. Boo. Did a cache out for no reason. Plug that sucker back in. I'm going to just turn that down. Oh my gosh. Primary strength. I can just turn everything way down. Okay, this time I'm going to check and make sure it's going to fall apart. What a bummer. I see it like barely moving, but it's not. Okay, you know what else we're going to see if I can do? A meta force. If we want to add a force into this thing, see if that will help. A meta ball force. You can come in here. Oops. Come on now. It's a meta ball force. And it's going to ask for a meta ball. And so what I need to do in here is create a... And the reason why I use a meta ball, let me just put this right here so I can see it, is a meta ball is, it has like the center to the out is, there's like a density, and so it's going to calculate how much force, there'll be stronger force in the center versus on the outside. That's why you use this for like blowing up stuff sometimes. We're going to just do this. We're going to add a force right here. Put it right there. And then it's always good to add a null. I can call this meta. Then we're going to go in here and we're going to find that. There it is. And we can't preview it in here, so we're going to go back. And let's hope this thing works the way we want. Let's preview it. Come on now. Now it should. That's not doing what I want. Am I going in the wrong way? Wow, guys, I apologize. I should have been more prepared. This was my B. No, it goes in. I was right. It goes in there. For scale, we're going to crank this up to 100 because I have to make sure it's working. And does it look like it's using the force? Because I don't think it is. Use the force. Come on. Oh, man. Let's see. I might have to skip this if this isn't working. Again, sorry, guys. Should have been more prepared. for this. All right, we're not going to deal with that. Sorry, guys. I'm dropping the ball today. All over the place. I am all over the place. You know what? We're just going to do this because I wanted to demonstrate cool things, but all of this is taking too long. So we're just going to turn off all constraints, and we're just going to hit save to disk and let this thing run. While that's solving, we can go back into Blender. Maybe part of the problem is because I have too many things open. But yeah, the idea was, and I'm really struggling right now. I have gym brain, which, you know, once I exhausted everything, my brain's not working. Is I wanted to add more of these details within here and things kind of breaking and falling apart. So we'll add a bunch of cool things in here. But this fight's going to be really cool when it's done. Super long. And I still have a long way to go with all the lighting. There's a lot more to do with the lighting this scene. And it's going to be super cool when it's done. But this might be a short stream. If this thing doesn't work, we might have to do it. Once I do this cache out, we're just going to call the stream. Sorry. I'll come more prepared next time and make sure I get all my destruction stuff right before I jump on and make sure I know what I'm talking about, because that was not as good as I had hoped. Okay, this is almost done with that. Do you guys have any questions while we're waiting? I'm just going to wait right here while this is caching, and I can answer questions. Does anyone use Embergen? Embergen's pretty good. It's a nice tool. Embergen's really nice. And I'm wondering if Embergen's going to start, do they have like a destruction thing? Because I know they have like terrains, and they have the water thing, the liquid gen. I'm curious if they have destruction gen. Ember Gen, let's take a look. I've never used Ember Gen, but people talk it up quite a bit. Let me share my screen. Yeah, there's some really, really nice, it's like real time too, which is pretty sweet. Software they have, yeah, Embergen, real-time fluid simulator, PlanetGen, and game texture viewer browser. That's interesting. GPU accelerated view, that's cool. And they have their terrain maker. Yeah, they're doing some really good stuff. Okay, let's jump over. Let's see if our there it is. And I believe, because we can't see, that'd be cool in the background. See those little pieces, and then you do some debris off of that. And we don't need this connected anymore because it's cached out. Embergen's great. Houdini obviously wins, but it's great for some ways. Yeah, that's why I haven't switched to Embergen, because I'm like, you know what, if I can do everything in Houdini, I'd rather just do everything in Houdini and not have to learn another tool. But yeah, look at that. You can do a quick sim, cache it out, and then from here, I think there's even a debris. debris source. Huh. DDD. Rest frame. Do I need to set this to 650? Ah, look at that. It's going nuts. Is that where you... yeah. Okay, so now I need to set this back to its world space. Oh boy. I'm all over the place, guys. I apologize. I think if I plug this sucker in here and I invert the transformation. Yep, now it's going to be in the right position in the fight. But it's falling too slow because that scene happens really fast. So I think you could do like a, what is it, time shift? Is that... No, there's another one. There's another one. It's like a... Is it retime? A retime? And you'd want to do like shift range. Input frames and... Oh, that did some janky stuff. Look at that. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. I just want to do a time offset. Can you go in here and do like a minus 30? Minus 10? Or we're going to do a plus 10. Aha. So yeah, I can come in here and I can, but I don't want it that far. And I didn't give it enough frames. But yeah. Then what would you, once you, let's say this was like you were happy with that, you could easily bring this over. Listening to everyone clean work on VFX work. Sorry, baby Ave, that this has been kind of a mess on my part. My bad. But thanks for joining. So yeah, once you're happy with this sim, we're just gonna play pretend, guys. If you're like, hey, I'm really happy with this thing, and you want to render it out, you could do it in here, or you can bring it over into Blender. And I always do an alembic output. And I changed the form to transform geometry. I noticed that didn't create as many issues when I'm doing like lots of little geometry stuff. We're gonna do the frame range. Why does it keep saying 1? I swear. Oh, that's freaking why. That's why. I've been doing this all wrong. And I'm gonna turn the time shift off for now. So we have this right here. We're just gonna choose the output. I'm gonna let it just go out where it needs to. And I'm gonna, just from the Houdini file, and I call this, oh man, my fingers are all over the place. And another thing you can do is delete a bunch of attributes. Sometimes this is gonna help reduce your file size just by coming in here and turning off stuff. Let's see. DDD. Wait, is that the right one? Let's see. All these names should be like, where is the file size? It'll tell you 19. That's the same. Oh, it's because I freaking turned it off. My goodness, I am all over the place. Why is that not changing at all? Oh, I'm struggling today. Okay, there we go. My gosh. I am struggling. My brain. So it keeps our groups, but you could come in here and delete all those groups. You could keep, come on now. UVs, you'd want to keep those. Especially if you set up right, but you could delete, where's all the, so we kept that, you can delete groups too, there's a way to do it, but anyway, we got it down. You want to delete a bunch of stuff so that you're getting this number down. It was 19, but now it's 12. Get it as low as you can. You could turn it off here too. Save attributes, turn it off there if you don't want any, but we wanted the UVs. I'm not going to turn motion blur. Great. Yeah, geometry, turned it on transform. And maybe after this I'll try to do a USD export, but okay, we're just going to hit this. Hit save to disk. Whew. Been brain fog. Really bad brain fog. Okay, once this Blender opens, I think it's struggling because I have a lot of things open. I'm going to try to bring it into this project and see if it's in the right spot. Frame. I'm also going to copy this number because sometimes what happens is Blender will like once you import an Alembic, it'll like change your entire like settings for that. And I think let's hit import. Okay, scale is wrong. So I'm gonna edit undo. It's way teeny tiny. Let's do import Alembic. Change this to 10. That's still not right. File, import Alembic. It must be 100. I'm gonna hit F. Yep. Okay. So once I change the scale, you can see it's right in the right spot now. So you would come in here. And let's see. And I think if I hit minus, it's gonna close all that up. There it is. So yeah, now we'd have this in the background. We could go into our... You'd probably want to switch, and I would do this in Houdini, but a switch between the two. And look, this is not what I was wanting to do. I should have imported the guys, put the camera in and everything. And yes, baby Abe, I have brain fog so bad right now. But now you can see that, boom, we got it in. It's just not the right scale or anything. It's not the right positioning. And I didn't give it enough frames. But the idea, you guys get the idea. The other thing is I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh yeah, I would have to bring these in. Like this whole area actually in as a collision geometry. But the playback's nice and like quick, like, you know, if it was the full thing. Turn off those annotations. Yeah, so it's pretty quick to bring those in there. I wanted to see really quick before we jump off to do a USD export because everyone raves about USDs. I just have had a really hard time exporting them. So we're just going to see if it's easy. Shall we? Path, let's just have it there. We're just going to do it as that. I'm just going to leave it as that. I'm not going to play around with a lot of stuff. Save to disk. Let's see if this works. And let's see if we can bring this USD in. Shall we? Import USD Houdini. There it is. Scale, we know it needs to be 100. Did it come in okay? It did. Yay. So I've read a lot of stuff about USD and people say it's much better to use a USD. Playback is faster. The files should be smaller. Let's jump into the file and see how big it is compared to the Alembic. Let me jump in. So it looks like our Alembic is wait, no, that's not it. Our USD is 72 megabytes. Our Alembic is actually smaller. Interesting. Apparently playback's faster, I guess. I don't know. You know, USDs are like apparently the new, all the kids are raving about it. But yeah, you can see, yeah, I mean, matches perfectly to everything else. Yeah, so that's how I kind of like to do things. All destruction, smoke, sims stuff in Houdini and bring it over into Blender because Blender is pretty quick with stuff. The only thing I wish Blender was better at is volumes. Still not a huge fan of volumes in Blender. Yeah, guys, so this was just kind of a simple stream. Again, apologize for not having all of my my project prepared for you. This was a little rough. I should call this stream experimenting with Houdini because I thought I had it all right and I clearly didn't. But that's right. Yep. So today we just did some took a piece of our scene into Houdini destruction, fun stuff. Maybe I'll jump on another time. I have a client project I'm going to be working on. Crank down the steps, raise volumes. Yeah. If you crank down the volume steps in Blender in cycles, it does help. But then you kind of lose some stuff too. You're totally right though. Yeah. I'm going to try to do a lot more Blender stuff on here. And again, if I have this client project, he said I could live stream it. And it's going to be a lot of Houdini grains. And so maybe I'll just live stream that later. And yeah, that'd be fun. Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm just seeing who's been on. Great. Okay, we'll jump on tomorrow, and I'll be a little bit more prepared. We'll do something a little different. Thanks, guys.